The focus for today's lesson is talking about points, lines, and planes. So we're going to see what those look like and figure out how to properly use notation with them. So these are the definitions from the book. So a point indicates a location and it has no size. So this undefined terms, these are things that have no size, so that's why they're undefined. How you name a point. So you can represent a point by a dot and name it by a capital letter, such as A. So notice here's a point, we put a letter on it. If you wanted to use a different letter, you could say like, here's a point, it's letter M. So you can name your point with a capital letter. The next one is a line. So a line is represented by a straight path that extends in two opposite directions without end and has no thickness. A line contains infinitely many points. So here you can see a line, and along that line there's infinite points, but we're going to label two specific ones with letters, and those are going to help us name the line. So you can name a line by any 2 points on the line, such as line AB, which is red line AB, or line BA. So you read the letters in order that you see them, or by a single lowercase letter such as line L. So if you're going to name it by a single letter that's not a point, you want to put that letter over the arrow. So notice this L is right above the arrow. You also could have drawn the L at this side of the arrow. Finally, we have a plane, and a plane is represented by a flat surface that extends without end and has no thickness. A plane contains infinitely many lines. So here you've got a plane. So you can kind of picture it like a piece of paper that extends forever, so an infinitely big piece of paper. You can name a plane by a capital letter, such as here they put the capital letter in the corner, so plane P, or at least 3 points in the plane that do not all lie in the same line. So like A, B, and C make more of a triangle, so they're not all in the same line, so you can name the plane by those 3 letters. But if, say, there had been another point, like maybe here we have point M. So MAC, I tried to make those all in the same line, so you couldn't name plane MAC, because it was all in the same line. You have to use points that make a triangle. So you could do MAB, but not points that make a line. So here's a diagram of some points and lines and planes. So how many points are in the diagram? So this is an activity we'll do in class, but you can count them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 points in the diagram. How many lines are shown? So we've got 1 line here and 1 line here, so we've got 2. Notice if the line is behind a plane, we're going to use a dotted line. So that's kind of showing that this plane is on top of where the line is, so the line is extending below it, so use that dotted line. And how many planes? We have that 1 single plane here. Another activity we're going to do in class is figuring out different ways to name the plane. So how many ways can you name this one we're actually doing the lines. So name the line that lies on the plane. So the line that's on the plane is this flat one. So the one going up and down is cutting through the plane, but it's not lying on the plane. So one way you could name this is line RS, and make sure you put the little arrow above it. So any 2 points on that line. So you could say like QR. You could do it backwards. You could say RQ. So the order does not matter with these points when they're on a line. We could just call it L. So there are lots of different options, so those are just a few. How many ways can you name the vertical line that intersects the plane? So that is our other line. So first I see M is written by the arrow, so you could name it M. We could name it line NT. Make sure you put the little arrows above it. Line QT, TQ. If you were in a position where you can't draw the arrow, you would just write it out as like line NQ. So you would just write out the word and then the letters, and that would be a way you could represent it as well. So there are other options, those are just a few. And how many ways can you name the plane? So the plane first you could name by the letter in the corner, so we could name it plane P. Or we could pick 3 points that do not lie on a line. So we could do like RVQ, so those would work. So plane RVQ. So if we go back to the definition, make sure, since this one doesn't have a symbol above it, you're just going to use the word plane in front of it. So you'll say plane and then the 3 letters. So we could also do plane SVR. So any 3 points that are not in a line. So we couldn't say plane RQS because those are in a line, but anything that includes V to make that triangle, that would work. And that's on the yellow plane. Perfect. So that is all we have for today's lesson. So now you're going to watch a second video on the second day's lesson if you weren't there for the second day.